And let's go ahead. I want to just make a couple of comments on this Islamic terrorist attack because of global warming that took place yesterday. I'm sorry for the silliness. This is pretty serious, obviously, but this is why I yell. This is why I yell. I don't know if you were watching this play out as I was. And I have it on a couple of different screens. So I get to see it, a different, take on the coverage. And of course, it's very difficult to watch CNN anymore, but even Fox News was really reluctant to say what it was and even who it was when it was already known who it was. And thankfully I missed it because I would have probably thrown something at the TV, but I guess the President of the United States got on the and said something about gun control. And what's interesting is that California, where this took place, has amongst the strictest gun control laws in the nation. And I don't care what kind of gun laws you have in place, the arsenal that they found in this house was unbelievable. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of weapons and ammunition. Anyway, I went on to Twitter. What I'm finding is that Twitter and Facebook are becoming more accurate and a better source for real-time coverage in terms of what's going on. And within about 30 minutes after this happened, which it was in the morning Hawaii time, I went on Twitter and they had already started hashtagging this name Farouk, which sounds a lot like Farag. And I think, isn't his first name Saeed, which sounds like Wahid. So, of course, that caught my attention. This is why I changed my name to JD, which is a legal AKA, by the way. So Saeed Farouk was the name that was being talked about on Twitter, and it was starting to trend. And of course, without question, we already knew it was an Islamic attack. It took until what I think was about 3:00 p.m. Hawaii time until Bill O'Reilly on Fox News finally had the guts to say the name. Everybody else was sheepish about it. And we're going to be, of course, talking about this on Sunday for the Prophecy Update. But one of the things that was really stunning to me was that the neighbors that lived next to this guy and his alleged wife, I say alleged because there is some talk that she was more, quote, radicalized than he was, that he supposedly met her online. They went to Saudi Arabia, they got married, they came back, and if you can imagine, I can't get my mind around this. They had apparently a 6-month-old baby, an infant, that they dropped off with a relative before they went on this demonic attack and rampage. There is also, but anyway, the neighbors that lived next to this guy were noticing that they were getting these inordinate amount of packages delivered to their house, and they were working at night in their garage doing God knows what. And the news article, I think it was townhall.com, quoted the neighbor as saying that we didn't want to say anything because we didn't want to be labeled as being Islamophobic. So much for see something, say something. The article goes on to say, see something, say something is dead. I have a different take on see something, say something. It goes like this: see something, say something, unless they're Muslims. Unless they're Muslims. There's also a lot of talk about how there are so many shootings that all of the presidents prior, the last 5, I think, presidents, that this president under his presidency has had something like 160 shootings. They call them shootings. And I think Bush before him, it was something like 12 or 8 or 15, something like that, 162. I also have, and I don't know how much into this I want to go, and I really want to get to our study tonight because I'm really looking forward to the chapters that we have in 1 Kings, chapters 16 and 17. But moreover, I'm really looking forward to chapter 18 and 19. Very exciting chapters, and I don't want to rush through them, but I don't know how much I want to get into this because I'm still unsure as it relates to what they're calling false flags. Now, what is a false flag? Well, there's on Facebook pictures of what they call crisis actors who have been at a lot of these shootings. And it's the same people, as if to imply that they're staged. Now, I know for a fact that the one in Oregon wasn't, because we have an online church family that knew the people there in this school that were killed. I also know that this was not a false flag, and I think we have to be really careful when we're quick to start buying into this notion of conspiracy as it relates to false flags, because this is what the Islamic terrorists want to further. They want to, that's part of their propaganda, because in so doing it takes the onus off of Islam. This Saeed Farouk is a member of the Islamic State. I hope you'll understand that. And I spent hours today. In fact, I didn't get even to 1 Corinthians. I usually like to at least crack open 1 Corinthians and on Thursday for Sunday. But this just was enveloping and absorbing, and I spent so many hours today really trying to get to the bottom of this, because this is pretty serious. I don't know if you can even begin to realize what the implications of this are. I was thinking to myself that, and this is the last thing I want to say about false flags, if for whatever reason it turns out that these are so-called false flags, in part, some of these previous shootings that we've seen over the last few years, well, wouldn't it stand to reason that that would even be worse if they were false flags, staged events? One has noted that they are very suspicious, because every time there's one of these, there's just coincidentally at the same time, close in proximity, a training exercise right next door, as was the case even here, in all fairness to those who suspect this. But I don't believe this was. And this was pure and simple a demonic attack by Muslims who take the Quran seriously. I'm going to quote the founder of CARE on Sunday morning, and what he said back in 1998 in, of all places, California. The founder of CARE. And it was really interesting, and this was something that was really suspect as well. They immediately had a press conference where CARE denounced this act. And that was stunning, because I think they had the brother or brother-in-law with CARE talking about how, they are heartbroken over this. This last week I had occasion to speak with a Muslim about his beliefs concerning Islam. He lives in Kailua, has a business in Kailua. I took him hummus as a peace offering, and we actually get along okay, and we have very interesting conversations. And I usually like to pick his brain because I want to know where he's at. And he made a very interesting comment to me. He said, if this is Islam, I would be on Hamakua Street opening fire and killing people. I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I got to go now. So as I'm looking, would you look at the time? Okay. What struck me about it was that this narrative and it was all over today, even on Fox News, even shamefully, Sean Hannity said it again, that they have hijacked a peace-loving religion. And I just about can't take it anymore. They have not hijacked a peace-loving religion. If anything, these terrorists have taken back their satanic religion. And these are true Muslims. I think I shared a couple weeks ago about a question I'm often asked. Well, what about those who are Muslims? They say they're Muslims, but they are law-abiding citizens. They are peace-loving, and they like this guy that I talk with and know. The only answer that I can give is that they are not true Muslims. They are cultural Muslims. See, with Islam, you're born into that religion, and it's virtually impossible to separate the race from the religion. I saw a post on Facebook today I thought was quite telling. It says, Islam is not a race, and it shows an Asian, an Indonesian, a Middle Eastern, and just a plethora of all of these different people groups, all of whom are Muslim. And by the way, the largest Muslim nation in the world is not a Middle Eastern nation, it's Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim nation in the world. And when you talk about even Iran, which are Shiite Muslims, not Sunni Muslims, as is the Islamic State, these are not Arabs. These are Persians. They don't speak Arabic. They speak Farsi. These are Persian or modern day Iranians. They are not Arabs. So there is this movement afoot, and this is what I just on Sunday. I guess I snapped in a way because. And again, I make no apologies for it, because there is this movement afoot to threaten, to intimidate, and to bully Christians to keep silent. So when your neighbor has deliveries of packages and they're doing something in their garage and they're clearly devout Muslims, say something. Say something to somebody. Call the police and apprise them of this. This is serious. Well, I don't want to offend anybody. No, offend somebody. Well, I don't want to be an Islamophobe. One last thing and we'll get into our study. There was a report, and it came out today. Much is coming out. We're still learning quite a bit about this. But apparently this guy worked at this community center and was in attendance with what I think was about maybe 70 fellow employees that worked for the county. These were city and county employees at this center, and it was for the disabled. And of course they rented out rooms, and it was a community center. And it was a Christmas party. And there was a report that the dispute that broke out was over the celebration of Christmas. I read another article today about, and I think it was Fox, and I think it was Tennessee of all places, which we've talked about. They are not allowing in certain arenas any Christmas parties. And the article was titled something to the effect of holiday parties cannot be Christmas parties in secret in the state of Tennessee. Do you know why, by the way, they don't want the Ten Commandments in public places displayed, and they have them removed as they just did recently on the mainland? Do you know why they don't want to hear about Christmas, or they don't even want to call it Christmas? Because the powers of darkness with whom our battle is against, it's not against the Muslim. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. It is against the powers of darkness, the wickedness in high places. The enemy is threatened by the truth. It doesn't help his recruiting practice. It doesn't help further the kingdom of darkness, because we have the truth, and the truth exposes the lie from the father of lies. And that's why the gospel, that's why Christians are being threatened to keep silent. You know, I get a kick out of whenever they try to take Christ out of Christmas and put an Xmas. Here's the thing. In Greek, the X is Christos. They're still calling it Christmas because they put the Greek X, which is Christos. It's still Christos. Take that. But anyway, when I was talking to this Muslim, it was right after Thanksgiving, and I asked him. I said, you don't tell a Muslim, "Hey, do you have a great Thanksgiving?" They don't celebrate Thanksgiving. They don't celebrate Christmas. And he made again a comment to me. He said, I believe that we are to respect the celebrations and the holy days of other religions. I said, can I get that in writing? Because you seem to be like the only one, at least, that is, saying that or believes that. But they only have two holy days, really, in Islam, two Eids, they call them in Arabic. And he said, you know that. We only have two Eids, and we speak in Arabic. It gives me an opportunity to kind of brush up on my Arabic a little bit. But be that as it may, I think that this, again, to me, means that the clarion call is even louder for us as Christians to not be silent. Our voice has to be very loud and very clear in love. The truth has to be spoken in love. The gospel has to be preached in love. And if there was ever a time for us as Christians to not be bashful or afraid, for that matter, it is now. I really believe this is only the beginning. I hate to say that, but I really believe this is only the beginning, and it's going to get worse. I'm sorry to say. I really believe that. I hope I'm wrong. I don't believe that I am.